Good evening, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2014, the first day of the second half of the year. We're going to take a look at the indices. We're going to take a special look at the Dow over the last month and on a monthly basis. And we're going to look at some indicators, and then we're going to look at 5 stocks: Goldman Sachs, LNG, LULU, LVS, and Melco Crown Entertainment. All right, the Dow was up 129.5 points today. Slightly new high. We're in here. You know, honestly, though, it almost looks like we're just going sideways. Now, maybe we get a break, but I want to see, really, it's almost got to be a break above, you know, this point in here in terms of a close. And another way of looking at this is you look at this trend line that I drew, you know, days ago, and now it's pulled back to it. So it could be nothing more than a pullback. But again, some of the other indices are looking a little bit stronger. I mean, you look at the S&P 500, clearly, you know, no marginal issues here, except for the fact that we have some divergence. DI plus has not moved to higher. I mean, we got divergence across the board, even with this move. Now, this divergence may disappear, but it's something you got to keep in the back of your mind. You got to sit back and say, okay, I know I'm getting buy signals on some stocks, or maybe some of the stocks are moving sideways. But when I look at the S&P and I look at the market right now, you know, you still have to kind of have a little bit of a question mark as to what is going on. And I think that's a part of what we got to sit back and say. You know, the NASDAQ, this is looking super strong. Of course, it's been strong. It's hanging above the 20 the whole time. And, you know, even though it's trading above the Keltner channels, it's just riding it. It's just going. And, you know, you take a look at the high here, and, you know, we're well above the high, you know, that we had back here in early March. So it's continuing to look strong. And even if you look at you know, where are we at? 44.58. Now we're back into this area. We're back into this rare air, what I call it, you know, with the up there where the oxygen is very thin, up here above 4,500 to 5,000, where the NASDAQ had back here in 2000, the roaring 2000. The whole internet bubble thing. So we'll have to watch and see. Do we get some push? Do we continue to move? Now, okay, let's take a look at the New York Composite. Again, this is like the SPX, but look at the divergence that's showing up. And again, you always, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, divergences can disappear, but right now they haven't. So you have to have a little bit of a question mark on the move. And Russell 2000 looking strong. I've done away with the head and shoulders. I did not think the symmetry is looking good. I think this shoulder thing has gone away. Now, so what is a possibility? When you look at this, let's just draw a line across the top here. Wow. Okay, the intraday high on the Russell 2000 today was 1212.82. Intraday high today, 1213.55. You know, we're right there. And then the selling came in and sold it back down a little bit. So we'll see. Is this, you know, is this going to mean something? Is this resistance? And is this going to turn into a double top? I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios that you could conjure up. I mean, we're up in virgin territory, but you're up in that area where you're testing this prior high from, so it's really not virgin, what I call virgin territory. You're like on C-trip. But, you know, this is up testing this high from March 4th. And we slightly broke through it fractionally today, intraday high, but that's not enough to sit back and go, oh, wow, you know, we're on to new, better, and greater things. I think we're just, right now, it's a test. So we've got to watch that closely. Okay, let's, I'm going to go to the indicators real quick, and I'm going to come back to the Dow on a monthly basis. Boy, you know, we're right stuck in the middle again on the short-term trading index. We're not getting any kind of extreme reading. The volatility index, well, we're pulled down a little bit back in here. Again, we're just muddling through. And when you look at the high-low got strong. You know, all of a sudden 362 more new highs than new lows. Highest reading since back when we had this in June 6th, so back early June. We may be trying to move. We'll have to see. Again, it's not extreme, and we've continued to trade above the neutral line, above zero, since mid-February, early February. Okay, that's those. Let me look at the semiconductor, the 3 ETFs real quick. Where are we? ETFs, home builders, semiconductors, and then we'll come back to the financial. This sure doesn't look like it's turning down to me. I mean, this sure looks like it's continuing to move to the upside, continuing to trend higher. We may get some divergence in here. We are getting some divergence, so we got to be a little bit cautious. Maybe we're going to get a turn, but right now it's sure acting strong. And home builders pulled back. This is still messing with this trend line, and you know, we're not getting, you could still say we've got a little bit of a divergence in here. The indicators have not gone to the new high that this close did today. Yeah, we closed above the trend line. We'll just have to see. I mean, the moving averages are aligned on a short-term basis. We got the 10 above the 21, above the 55. Actually, they're all four aligned in here. To the high side, to the bullish side. And you know, we did take out a new high, so that's another aspect of it. You can sit back and say, yes, we did establish another new high in here. And from the standpoint of not new high from taking out this point, but a new high from the standpoint of establishing higher highs and higher lows in here. So we could easily get a pullback. And then the real question is, does it stay above this low? Okay, so that's, as you start to trend up, that's what you're looking for. Now, if you go to the financials, not so much. We're kind of pulling back to this trend line in here. And I don't know. Again, it almost looks like you could draw a line of, you know, like we're in this sideways consolidation to a certain degree. And do we break above it? You know, and okay, let's create a parallel line, and of course it grabs it all the way up there. Select trend line, yes. Let me pull that back down. Okay, this is why whenever I'm on the perimeter of my thing, it's almost better off to just do this. So this looks like it's doing a little bit of this. If we get a close above this high, then I would say, well, we're breaking out. Right now we haven't broken out. Okay, so the last thing on the indices I want to take a look at is the Dow on a monthly basis. Now, this is really interesting. Number one, the trend line is held, okay, that we've been in since 2011. And we've still got this trend line. We're at the upper end of this line of this broadening triangle, which connects the tops of 2000, 2007, okay, and into the end here in 2013. But the other interesting aspect, so as folks, you start to get a little bit frustrated with the market action and what's going on, well, look at this. The high and low of the Dow Industrials for the entire month of June was 305 points, actually a hair less than 305 points. I just did a quick scan back through this and kind of was scanning through, looking at the high, low, whatever. This may be the narrowest, tightest monthly range of the Dow in over 10 years. So, you know, naturally there's a little bit of frustration. Naturally, sometimes you're getting whipsaws on the stocks and things moving back and forth. You've got the Dow not going anywhere. Okay, so today, you know, the high 978, I think today we took out that high. But just remember, we had a really, really tight range for the month of May. This ends in June 30th, okay? And so we'll be interesting to see, do we start to pop and expand to the upside, or do we reverse? And I don't know. I'm not going to get into this predicting type business. I'm trying to read what the market's telling me to the best of ability and to trade you know, with that, or, you know, like with the stocks, trying to stay with the trend. If we go back here, the high today was 998. We go back to the monthly, the high, you know, went a little bit higher. So it went 20 points above this high in here. So it went just a couple more points above this today. but still very, very, very tight. And some people, the thing that's interesting about this, and then I'm going to go off this and move to the 5 stocks we want to cover today. You look at this, and so some people say, well, this move here, 2007 to 2009, corrected this entire move from 1932. I just don't get it. Now, I'll admit, when you move and you take this off of a semi-log scale, which puts everything in percentage basis, and you apply it, you're like, wow, that's a different picture. So wow, this was a pretty big pullback. When you look at the pure numbers, it was a 50% pullback of that, entire move. I believe it was of the entire move. And when you kind of scale back in time, you start to realize, well, wow, 1987, no wonder it scared the heck out of everybody. It was pretty bad. And some of the moves back in here, as you look back in time on a pure mathematical basis. So I don't know. I've got mixed emotions about it. When you turn it back on a semi-log to put the whole thing in perspective, you really got to sit back and I know this is 1, here's 2, here was 3, here's 4, the sideways chop in 4 that really predicted the 5th wave move, and the 5th wave ended up being super strong and way stronger than anybody ever thought it could be. So what are we doing up in here? I don't know. I mean, I'm wary. And we'll just have to see. We just got to keep our eyes open. We could be right near another top. And I talked about this in a blog post, back one time in May, I think it was. It could be similar to, on a much larger scale than what happened between 66 and 73. If you look at, here at 73, you would have thought, wow, this looks really great. We got, we moved down, we corrected. This would be like 2007 to 2009. And now we've gone to new highs. And, what are we doing? Well, then all of a sudden it just, collapsed and went to, new lows, went below what it did in 1970. So the real question is that the same thing that's going on here? This same kind of sideways move, but it's just, nobody knows for sure. We're just, trying to keep our eyes open as we move forward. All right, let's take a look. Now that we took a look at the monthly snapshot on the industrials, we're going to take a look at Goldman Sachs, Cheniere, I think it's pronounced Cheniere Energy, LNG, LULU, LVS, Las Vegas Sands, and Melco Crown Entertainment. Let's start off with Goldman Sachs. Okay, Goldman Sachs looks like it broke this trend line on the RSI. That's the RSI. And so therefore, it hasn't broken a trend line on the price, but the RSI is saying this might be breaking down. I'm not saying there's a signal in here, but it could be, we're not getting bearish divergence on the RSI. It just broke the trend line. We're getting a little bit of bearish divergence here on the DI plus, and not seeing it on the demand index. So when you only see it out of 1 out of 3, that's not good enough for me to place a wager on. Okay, the next one is Cheniere Energy. Strong uptrend, continues to move to the upside, continues to stay above the 10 above the 21, and 21 above 55. Little bit of negative divergence coming in here. This higher push is not being confirmed by the indicators. So what I'd be watching for is if with this non-confirmation, especially this doji, we're above the Keltner channels, the dotted lines. If this reverses back down below the 10, might have to consider, depending on the price action, to consider that maybe it's time to play to the downside for a move. But not yet. Okay, the next one, Lululemon. Lulu, this has been in a pretty substantial downtrend, had this huge gap down here on this move. Look at these gaps down in here to the downside. Again, hasn't been able to turn. It almost looks like it's trying to come up in a pullback, which to me would, the way it looks and acts like it maybe wants to pull back up, next move to the upside. But again, not confident enough to say that yes, it is. A little bit of divergence in here, but not confirmed by the selling here. Let me look at the RSI. RSI, no. I mean, this went to a lower low on this selling. So again, it's something to monitor, but I don't see anything to play right now. And Las Vegas Sands. Las Vegas is trying to turn like Melco is. It's breaking above this trend line in here. It's above the 10. 10's above 21. It's trying to turn to the high side. Let's take a look. Volume's increasing a little bit. Let me increase that. Yeah, we've only had one day above the 50-day moving average of the volume over the last, 3 weeks. DI plus above DI minus. RSI is looking good. Demand index is looking good. So it is trying to push to the high side. I just thought Melco was a better move, and that's why on Melco we've got a trade idea that we got into right in here. And we took some profits. I think it was back in here on half the position of options. And now we're continuing to let it ride. My major concern is this pricing in here where buying came in here, here. And so since it broke down through there, is selling going to come in here? And right now it's tried to make a move up and through it. Where did we close? 36.51, high of 36.90. So I'd love to see a close above 37. If we can see a close above 37, I think this thing is going to give a shot at continuing to run. And we're going to trail stop right now and try to stay in this. So that's my take on Melco Crown. All right, so that's it tonight. That's the 5 stocks. The market is continuing to push higher. And you just got to go. You got to go with the trend. I mean, it's like keeping one eye on the exit door, but you got to stay with the trend as much as you possibly can, and take some profits to try to lock in a profitable trade. That's the only thing I can think to say. Okay, thanks for watching this technical analysis video. If this video helped you in any way, show the love by clicking one of the social media buttons. Share it with the world, and share it with your friends and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And remember, trading is more than bars on the chart. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great day. This has been Joe Beyond the Chart.